Okay. I'm Hernando County Sheriff Alan Nienhuis, and we're here at Silverthorne Community. It is a gated community kind of in central Hernando County. About 2:33 this afternoon, we actually received a call that there were shots being fired in a house. Initial indications were that it might be domestic related. Fortunately, we had a deputy right across the street at the Salishan Retirement Community. He was in the parking lot, I guess maybe doing some paperwork, and he responded. So again, it started at about 2:33 when we got the call. By 2:37, so just 4 minutes later, he was actually on the scene. He was saying he could hear shots being fired and almost immediately advised that he was being fired upon and that he was pinned down and, of course, needed more units to respond. Shortly thereafter, information came over that the threat was neutralized. The initial reports, or what was happening during those 3 or 4 minutes, was that it was a family type dispute and that shots were being fired and at least one individual in the house was shot. I'm being told several times, that's very preliminary, but one of the individuals was shot several times and flown to a local trauma center. It's my understanding that the person is still alive and may actually be expected to survive. So that person was shot. When the deputy pulled up, he was actually fired, as almost immediately getting out of his vehicle, he was fired at through a window of the house. The deputy took cover in a garage across the street, an open garage across the street, and was kind of pinned down there and started returning fire. The suspect moved from that side window to the front door and actually came outside. The deputy moved a little bit closer to across the street from the front door of the residence, and the two exchanged fire, and the deputy was able to shoot the individual and neutralize the threat, and the individual is deceased at the scene. The deputy, of course, is been taken away from the scene. He'll be interviewed later. He will be placed as a standard protocol on administrative leave with pay, pending the outcome of the investigation. We do have the Florida Department of Law Enforcement on the scene. They're interacting with the state attorney's office, and of course the medical examiner is here, and that's about where we are right now. It's obviously still very fluid, very flexible, and a lot of that stuff that I've been telling you does need to be verified, but that's preliminary.
Sheriff, can you give us any idea of how this may have started, what started this?
Well, again, I'm being told that it was a domestic type thing. It sounds, at least the initial reports, that it was just a typical argument that started, and it blew up very quickly into shots being fired inside the house. We're not sure if the suspect was on any type of drugs or anything. I think that might have been the caller who originally called us said that might be a possibility, but we obviously don't have any verification of that.
Can you tell us who was doing the shooting and who got shot as far as their relation to each other?
Well, because of Marsy's Law, I've got to be very careful about that, but it was a family issue. The shooter, yeah, is it's an individual in his mid-20s, and the other people in the house, where everybody was there invited, so it wasn't any type of somebody breaking in or anything like that. It was everybody. It was very calm, apparently, up until a short time before the shooting occurred.
How many people were in the house?
The deputy was not hit. He was slightly injured, I guess, trying to take cover. It was a very traumatic experience, obviously, getting out of his vehicle and being fired upon, and in the process of taking cover. I think he got some scrapes and scratches, but I think he's fine.
And did it hit with his gunshot? He shot from the garage that struck the suspect?
He actually, I'm being told, and again, very, very preliminary, he actually moved out of the garage and moved, because he was kind of catty-cornered to the house, he actually moved to a position more directly across the street so he could, because people were coming out of their houses, and it's a very nice neighborhood, a very, upper middle class or upper class neighborhood here, and people were coming out to see what was going on, so the deputy was concerned about that and wanted to make sure he could protect the citizens in the area as well as any incoming deputies, because they were at a little bit of a disadvantage.
Sheriff, can you tell us whether the 20-year-old lived here or was just a visiting family?
I'm not 100% sure, but I think he may have lived here, but I'm not 100% sure of that.
Any other